In this video, we'll be taking a look at one NFL game happening on January 18, 2025, and providing you with a free team pick and total pick for this game, so 2 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on this one NFL game after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Houston Texans versus Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are set to kick off their pursuit of a third consecutive Super Bowl championship against the Houston Texans in this highly anticipated Texans versus Chiefs showdown. These two teams previously faced off in Week 16 of the regular season, with the Chiefs emerging victorious by a score of 27-19 on their home turf. The Texans earned their playoff berth by clinching the American Football Conference South title and then convincingly defeating the Los Angeles Chargers 32-12 in the wild card round, overcoming 2.5-point underdog status. Meanwhile, Kansas City secured the best record in the American Football Conference, earning the top seed in a first-round bye, which gave them valuable extra preparation time. The Houston Texans recently secured a victory against the Los Angeles Chargers, and their next challenge will be determined by the outcome of the Ravens-Bills matchup. A win in this upcoming game would mark a significant milestone for the Texans, giving them their first ever appearance in the conference championship. Houston began the season with an impressive stretch of games, demonstrating solid performance overall. However, their momentum waned somewhat in the latter part of the year, leaving room for improvement. The Texans kicked off with a strong 6-2 record, suffering losses only to the Minnesota Vikings and Green Bay Packers. During this period, they notched victories against teams like the Colts, Bears, Jaguars, Bills, Patriots, and then the Colts once more. Following their bye week, the Texans entered a less consistent 2-3 stretch, managing wins over the Cowboys and Jaguars while losing to the Jets, Lions, and Titans. They closed out the regular season with a 2-2 record, earning wins against the Dolphins and Titans but falling to the Chiefs and Ravens, ultimately finishing with a respectable 10-7 record. In the wild card round this past weekend, Houston faced off against the Chargers. The game started unfavorably for the Texans as they quickly fell behind 6-0. However, they mounted a comeback with a series of high-scoring quarters, culminating in an impressive 32-12 victory, effectively dominating their opponents and securing their place in the next round. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs demonstrated their characteristic dominance this season, winning an astounding 15 regular season games and maintaining an unbeaten record at home. The Chiefs are now aiming to secure their 7th consecutive conference championship appearance, further solidifying their status as a powerhouse in the league. Kansas City's season began with an extraordinary 9-game winning streak, during which they defeated notable teams like the Ravens, Bengals, Falcons, Chargers, Saints, 49ers, Raiders, Buccaneers, and Broncos. Their first setback came in Week 11 with a loss to the Bills, but they quickly regained their form. The Chiefs followed that loss with another series of victories, taking down the Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, and Steelers. They concluded the regular season with a strong 15-2 record, though one of those losses came against the Broncos. In their final game of the regular season, a largely inconsequential Week 18 matchup with Denver, Kansas City opted to rest many of their starters. This decision was reflected in the outcome, as the Chiefs found themselves trailing 24-0 at halftime and ultimately suffered a lopsided 38-0 loss. Despite this, the Chiefs remain one of the league's most formidable teams heading into the postseason. The Houston Texans will head to Kansas City on Saturday as underdogs for the second consecutive playoff matchup. In their wild card victory, quarterback C.J. Stroud and the Texans decisively outperformed the Chargers, gaining 168 more yards and dominating the turnover battle 4-1. While facing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs presents a significantly tougher challenge, the Texans' defense is playing at an elite level. Under head coach DeMeco Ryans, the defensive unit ranks 4th in the NFL in success rate allowed, 5th in expected points added per play, 2nd in points per quality possession allowed, and 5th in total yards allowed, giving up just 315 yards per game. Though it's unlikely Mahomes will throw 4 interceptions as Justin Herbert did, this Houston defense has the tools to disrupt the 2-time MVP. Kansas City enters this matchup well rested after their bye week, but their performance with a rest advantage under Mahomes has been inconsistent, evidenced by a 16-17 against the spread record since 2018. Despite finishing the season with an impressive 15-2 record, only 4 of those victories were by more than 8 points. Moreover, 10 of their games were decided by 7 points or fewer, highlighting a pattern of close contest rather than dominant wins. The Chiefs' single loss while playing their starters occurred in Week 11 against Buffalo, where they managed just 78 rushing yards and Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. Houston recently held the Chargers to only 50 rushing yards, and if the Chiefs' ground game struggles early, the Texans could keep this contest competitive. These teams last clashed in Week 16 at Arrowhead Stadium, where Kansas City triumphed 27-19, covering the 3.5-point spread. The main change since then is the Texans losing wide receiver Tank Dell to a severe leg injury, but it's unlikely his absence shifts the outcome by 4.5 points. Furthermore, Mahomes has struggled to cover large spreads this season, as the Chiefs are just 1-5 against the spread when favored by 7 or more points. While Kansas City boasts an impressive 54-15 straight-up record at Arrowhead under Mahomes since 2018, their against the spread performance lags at 31-35-3. A popular narrative suggests that the Chiefs have been conserving their energy during the regular season, keeping games close in preparation for a playoff surge. However, this theory is difficult to support given that Kansas City won only 4 games by 8 or more points this season. If they could dominate opponents by 20 points every week, they certainly would. Conversely, the Texans delivered a shocking result in the wild card round, not just winning as underdogs, but securing a 20-point victory. Defensive-minded head coach DeMeco Ryans will ensure his team is as prepared as possible for the formidable Chiefs. In the wild card game, Houston's defense held Justin Herbert's offense to just 12 points and forced 4 interceptions, proving they can handle elite quarterbacks. Meanwhile, Kansas City's receiving core is diminished, with 3 of their top targets on injured reserve. Houston's Joe Mixon-led running game and C.J. Stroud's poise under pressure provide further reasons to believe this team can hold their own. On paper, the Chiefs appear to have a clear edge. Houston's offensive line is a weakness, and the team is missing several key players. Kansas City is at home, rested, and guided by head coach Andy Reid, who has an outstanding record with extra preparation time. Nevertheless, potential rust from the Chiefs' extended layoff could be a factor. Additionally, Kansas City's offensive line has shown vulnerabilities, and the Texans excel defensively, especially in their aggressive secondary and with a strong pass rush. Houston's defensive front, led by standout edge rushers Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., combined for over 22 sacks this season and will be a significant test for Kansas City's offensive line. Cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. anchors the Texans' secondary, which forced 4 interceptions against Herbert. Even with home field advantage, this matchup won't be a walk in the park for Mahomes, particularly given the absence of several key receivers. The Chiefs have relied on their defense more than their offense this season, finishing 4th in defensive scoring. With cold conditions expected at Arrowhead, this game shapes up to be a low-scoring, hard-fought battle, so the Houston Texans to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. In their Week 16 meeting, these two teams combined for 48 points, with the Chiefs scoring 27, something they accomplished only 6 times this season. Kansas City averaged 24 points per game at home, ranking 16th in the league. Given the Texans' strong defensive performance against the Chargers, it's plausible the Chiefs could score 21 points or fewer. The ability of Mahomes and the offense to control the line of scrimmage and establish a running game will be crucial. On the other side, Kansas City's defense is expected to deliver a strong performance. In their last 9 postseason openers, the Chiefs have allowed just 17 points per game, a trend likely to continue against Houston. The Texans averaged 23 points per game on the road this season, but that figure dropped to 16 points in 3 road games against playoff-bound teams. Kansas City will also benefit from the return of key defensive players like Chamery Connor, Chris Jones, and Jalen Watson, which could make life difficult for Stroud, who threw for 282 yards last weekend. Both teams have leaned toward the under this season, with a combined 21-14 record in that direction, including 5 of the Chiefs' last 6 games. If Houston hopes to compete, they must establish a ground game with Joe Mixon and play a slow, methodical style to limit Mahomes' opportunities. The Texans ranked 27th in no-huddle usage this season, while the Chiefs ranked last, further supporting a lower-scoring affair. Houston's ability to pressure Mahomes will be critical, as they boast 2 of the NFL's best edge rushers in Hunter and Anderson Jr. far. Meanwhile, Kansas City's defense, ranked fourth in scoring, has consistently carried them to victories this season. With cold weather expected and multiple factors favoring a slower-paced game, this matchup projects to be a defensive struggle. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.